Hi, welcome to Graphic Card Repairs. My name is Fraser, and today we are going to go ahead and reball a GPU chip. So today I have a GPU chip which is a RTX 3070 GPU core. So let's go ahead and reball this one. Today I'm going to show you how you can do it. So let me put some flux. There you go. So I'm going to use a lot of flux. So this chip is extracted from a motherboard, and we are going to reball this one. So first thing is, I'm going to put a lot of flux so that I can remove the leaded solder balls. Oh, sorry, the unleaded solder balls. There you go. So let's clean it first. I'm going to get rid of all the solder balls, excess solder balls that's there on the chip right now. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. We are going to take a detailed look, as you know, because there are so many instances where I have screwed it up before in my past experience. So I used to always wonder how how to get it right. And finally, with experience, I finally got the entire trick of getting it right every time, the first time. Okay, I'm going to show you in this video. Okay, first let's go ahead and clean this this chip. So you can see that I'm using a lot of flux while cleaning. So flux is good. I would recommend, it doesn't matter which flux you use, as long as it's not the flux that gets burned very easily. So first what I have done is I've just removed the unleaded solder. Okay, so I'm going to use a copper braid. You can see that the chip is moving all over the place. Let me see if I can hold it down. I would prefer if if you have a holder which could add weight. I would prefer if you could use that. That would make your job a little bit more easier. This chip would not move all around the place like it's how it's doing right now. Okay, so the idea here is, while you're cleaning the solder that's there on the pads, you need to make sure that all the pads are nice and clean and flat. There is nothing or no solder that's left over. So this is going to make sure that when you put on the balls, or when you're reballing this chip, it will make sure that the solder balls stick to the pad easily without any trouble. Now there is one more step while doing that. When we come to that stage, I will explain it, so that even you can get this done at in one go, and you won't have to struggle with getting the balls done over and over again. There was a time when I used to do that a lot. I used to always wonder, why am I not able to get it, soldered in one go? I used to find it so difficult. Okay, let's clean this chip. So I'm using isopropyl alcohol just to clean any excessive flux or the burnt flux that was or that's there on the chip. So I'm just getting rid of that. I'm just cleaning the back, but it's not necessary that you have to clean the back right now, but you can prevent this step. But this side of the chip, it needs to be very clean. Okay, I will switch over to the microscope in a short while. But before I do that, let me get my stencil holder or my chip holder to get it ready for reballing this chip. There you go. Let's switch over to the microscope. I'm just checking to see if there's any dirt on my stencil and the alignment. So there's a marking onto the chip, and also there is a marking on the stencil. So the marking should match. So that is pin 1. Okay. Okay, so now in this process, you need to make sure that the balls are, the pads underneath and the holes are matching exactly. So when I put in the flux and put in the balls and lift the stencil up, I want to make sure that the balls are completely centered and not a little off or anything like that, because that will make sure that my work later on is much easier. Now, most of the time, when we use a little lower quality flux or an average kind of flux, it makes it a little difficult, and the balls keep moving. I will show you, if even if you're using a lower quality flux, you can still do get the job done right. So right now I'm spending enough of time just to get my alignment right. It's much easier with this stencil holder to get the alignment right, but I'm just making sure that it's exactly spot on, because to do this is much easier than to get the balls in place, or if the balls stick together, to get that separated and things like that. That can really get messy. So to avoid that, I'm ensuring that my stencil and the pads underneath are exactly matched. Okay, let's take a look under the microscope now. So I'm using 0.5. So you can see, and there are already 2 balls in there. Let me get rid of those balls. Okay, so for this application, I'm going to use my trusty old Flux, which I use. Now this Flux, if you have watched my previous video on how to reball a memory chip, in that I have shown this particular Flux. It's a Mechanic AD559. I use it a lot for reballing, and it has done a good job for me. So let's ensure that our holes and the pads underneath are exactly where it should. I really wouldn't mind spending time getting this aligned now than to, spend massive amount of time and energy getting them fixed later on. Okay, so now it's flux time. Okay, now the trick here, okay, is you're going to use exactly right amount of flux, nothing more, nothing less. Okay, watch how I do it now. So I'm using a brush. You can use a finger if you don't want to use a brush. It's absolutely fine. So I'm getting it as thin as possible. Now the idea here is, when I start the reballing process, or when I'm going to use the heat gun, the idea is that when I start, I don't want to stop. I want to finish it in one go, and that's the trick. Okay, that's the trick to get it right the first time. If, for example, if you have too much of flux onto the chip, there is a tendency that your balls are going to shift, and if it shifts, then I will have to stop my the heating process and try to realign, because once the flux activates, and when you take the heat gun away, the flux will cool down, and once it cools down, then it will make a mess of the rest of the balls that are there, which are not yet stuck, and that's where the problem starts, and that is the exact reason why you're not able to get to reball the GPU chip in one go. If you start at reflowing or the solder balls and continue till the end, you will get it right, and you can do it in one go. And that's the key. That's the key of doing it right, in one go. So you put the right amount of flux, quickly move on to applying the heat source before the solder dries up. Okay, so when I say solder, I mean not the solder. What am I talking about? Before the flux dries out, and if the flux dries out, it's going to make it difficult, because in some areas it's going to be uneven. When you apply the heat, it will activate, and and in the other areas it will, as the heat progresses to the other parts of the chip, it will not flow in a even manner. It's going to be very uneven. That can also make the balls to shift. So the whole idea here is, to the moment you put the balls, okay, and you get the balls right on the spot, you take the top off, and you start with your heat gun while the solder had just, when the balls have just been applied and the solder is fresh. Then once you apply the heat gun, you don't stop until you finish. That's the time, or that's the only time you'll get it perfectly right. We'll see it in this video how we do it. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me just check if there are any excessive balls. There I can see a few. Let's get rid of them. Where did it go? Trust me, at the start, I used to really mess things up on GPU core. So this is the time that I'm going to spend the maximum time, ensuring that I have everything right. And this is the most easiest time. It's much easier to find things where, I don't have solder balls, or if there is any excess ball which is sticking around somewhere, which I need to get rid of. This is the best time. And this time is the most easiest time because you can't mess it right now. Once I lift, I have to ensure that once I start, I don't stop till the end. Okay, so I'm going to take the chip out from the stencil holder, put it on my mat. The reason I'm putting it on my mat, it's a preheater, but I'm not using, it's not on. Okay, it's off. The only thing is that I want the heat, when I apply the heat, it's going to spread evenly. You can use a silicone mat, but if sometimes the silicone mat would rise because of the heat, that's why I prefer this preheater, so that I can evenly spread the heat across the GPU chip, even though it's not turned on. So you can see that the flux underneath is still fresh. It's not dried up, and the solder balls are perfectly on top of it because I've spent enough of time ensuring that my stencil is exactly right. Okay, so I'm just going to apply heat from the side, and I will activate the flux and slowly move inwards. So you can see from the top left view that the heat gun is approximately an inch away and slowly moving in. So you can see the flux is getting activated. So I'm going to wait and hold till the time I see the solders on the edges start melting. Okay, I'm getting it closer now. And I'm going to hold it there till the solder starts melting, the balls start melting. And once the balls start melting, then I'll start moving my solder, the gun. There you go. You can see the balls sticking to the pads underneath. So you can see that kind of an arc, where the solder is activated, not the solder, but the flux is activated, and slowly it's going to spread over. So I'm going to be very gentle and slowly start moving my air gun towards the other side, and then start moving in the center. Now the whole trick here is that once I start, I should not stop, because if I stop right now, if I take my gun off and try to rectify, this chip is going to start cooling, and the moment it starts cooling, the flux which is activated is going to get difficult later, because it's going to dry up, and those balls which are around or after that area are definitely going to stick, and that's where things can get messy. So you can see that the balls are slowly coming in place. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just maintaining the temperature. I don't want this chip to cool down right now. I just want that temperature to be there, maintained. So you can see the balls are sticking nice and easy. Now this hot air station that I'm using, it's a quick 857 DW, and even though the air is at minimum, there is that still air that's blowing out, very very less, but there is still air blowing out, unlike the the bigger brother or the Athens that I have. When I keep it at minimum, it's as if there is kind of no air. So you can see right now on the chip that the balls are nicely stuck into place. So I'm just going to move the gun over just one more time. Okay, our job is almost done. There you go. So you can take a look that we managed to get the entire chip reballed in just in one go. So this chip is going to go into the ultrasonic cleaner just to get clean. I don't want that flux or the old flux on the chip when I'm putting the chip back on the motherboard. So I hope you learned something from this particular video. I try to keep it as simple as possible. I thought this was something that I really struggled in the past, reballing the GPU core. Let's check if there's any abnormal things here or anything sticking. I guess, yeah, it's all looking good for now. Okay. So that's about it, and the chip is completely ready. The balls are stuck to the bed and they're not moving out. I'm just going to drop this into the ultrasonic cleaner just to get it clean. So if you like the video, please hit the like button. And I hope you learned something new. This is something that I struggled in the past, and I wanted someone to to show me exactly how it's done, the tricks, getting it right the first time, and I hope I could show someone else how I did it. Hit the like if you like the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Cheers.